And over the years, how have you personally developed your career?
Career. I I would say very slowly. I'm not good at. I'm a terrible self. I don't think I teach self promotion at art school or business savvy or any sort of real. I mean, I think they say go to openings, which is a good, actually the best step. Keep going, keep going. Like go openings, opening. Keep being seen, keep seeing your face, and um keep it vibrant. And it's funny, the difference with social media, it's not the same. There's something about an opening or something about a gallery visit or seeing a show in real life, which is very different to the mediated thing. So that's not really career stuff, but it sort of it clued me into the art world, which I was in all its facets. But yeah, I think little and often is probably my career trajectory. I don't think I'm sort of a great self-promoter, but I think slowly, and I think a lot of the artists who I admire sort of do it that way. They don't blow their own horns. They kind of just getting on with it, which maybe isn't that popular at the moment. I think there's a lot of, it's the Instagram artist. They're the most popular because they're the best at marketing. And so who knows? I think I'm quite old-fashioned in that way. I'll just be the slow burn. Yeah.
Why does art matter to you in the current situation we're in?
I think I was just surprised that art does matter. I think there's been a lot of things I found don't matter. You kind of like you've let go of a lot of things, and you're like, oh, well, that didn't. I didn't actually mind that wasn't. That's no longer in my life. But that I think in the way that we've all sort of all of a sudden realized that birds sing, and there are animals are all around us, and there are stars in the sky. All this really very normal things that we should probably be more clued up with. I think it requires something of you, and all of a sudden we've got the time to be required of. So it's quite cool. So now I'm going. Actually, people get to look again, or they've got the slowness, or they've finished the things they needed to do. So all of a sudden art's available, and it's speaking to them differently. So I love the way that art's changed the sort of language, or even an art that's been around for hundreds of years is all of a sudden speaking to people in a new way, which is, I mean, obviously it's staying the same, but we've changed around it. So it's quite, I was pleasantly surprised at how art's shifted. Well, I guess art hasn't shifted. We've shifted into that space. Yeah.
You've completed a PhD. What's the crux of your PhD project?
Tears and torture. No, sorry, I shouldn't say that. It's my thesis was memory markers in the landscape in Aotearoa, New Zealand. There was no shorter way of saying that title. I tried. That was about half a day of figuring out how to say it, and the elevator pitch of my thesis. So it was a lot to do with memory, and I coined the term memory markers, which just stretched out that concept of a memorial or a monument to be a bit more open, a bit more of a street name, or like a road sign, or a rock on a hill. Like it became any places that were no longer like living. So obviously marae or like a family home, depending on its sort of life, weren't in that category, because those things were still creating memory. They were still going. They were ongoing and alive and fresh. But things that had stopped and things that had been left specifically to record something, which was fascinating. And that became, obviously it came from sort of that McCann New Zealand landscape painting reference, but shifted really rapidly into painting and trying to observe how we I'm not sure who the we is still, maybe New Zealanders, maybe it's a sort of a Western concept, that idea of the gravestone and the plaque, but I really like the way that people still try and record something. And I think it's and that's why I've shifted, and they're always recording the present, what happened today, now, or and some things are really personal, and I think you get a little window into it, and then other things are really public, and people actually they want this memory to keep going, to be alive and to live. And other people are going, I need to just almost lay it down, which is fascinating. And then the relics that left behind, sort of the way things shift in time. I think they're almost these time machines that move forward but sort of decay and get interesting. And stories get layered. I love the way the stories are kind of they shift, especially when bits are lost. And I love the way that all the stories can grow in that same way. So it's I am interested in the written history, and it does bump up into the oral history, but not, I think, more with my background. Yeah, the written is just fascinating to me.
Last question, Elliot.
Yes.
Which international contemporary artists are you currently following?
I think a couple of my favourites are Babak Ganji. He's this incredible artist who sort of does these very, very great freehand poster type of things, which they're amazing, and they're very heartfelt, very ironic, and sort of very of the present, beautiful, sad, funny, rude. Which I appreciate, because I'm not very good at being rude or naughty. I'd like to be a bit naughtier, but I'm a bit too earnest. And I'm quite sarcastic in my life, but not in the painting. So it's a strange thing when people sort of laugh at a really sad painting. I'm like, oh no, I meant that, and they sort of. But in my if I'm having a chat with you, of course I'm going to make fun of my own, I don't know, upbringing. But in a painting, it's quite important that it's serious. And Katie Patterson, who's another. British artist or Scottish artist. I think she's Scottish. That would be terrible if I get that wrong. Another amazing artist. Got real range again, and I think she inspires me because of the range of work she's done. I think she's done a candle with all the smells from earth to the sun or something, and a book written entirely in moon dust, and all these really incredible sort of. She's done the 100 Years Project, where she's planted trees, and a book will be made in 100 years from the trees that get milled. She's got a really vast catalogue, and the way she does things is just thought through and beautiful. So those are my two tops at the moment.
And reading, any books you're currently reading for during the lockdown?
Rangihiro Panoho, his Māori art. I've just gone back to that for some reason. I think I'm sort of missing getting out and seeing places. I think he's really good at documenting places with a new look. I just don't know why I look back there. It's kind of it's got a breadth in it, so I like that there's enough meat in it to really like figure out what it is. Otherwise, a recent work I've sort of done some photographic boxes, and they're very Joseph Albers inspired. So I kind of dove back into looking at Annie and Joseph. Any sort of peaceful artist I've tried to align with them this time. And actually the Elizabeth Knox book, great book. It's definitely the bedtime doesn't actually relax you. It's one of those books where you get too involved. So it's which is fine, because you've got all the time in the world to wake up the next day.